It has been a minute since we've had a green screen behind us, but here we are, man. I want to say hello to all the society dwellers out there. I want to talk to you guys about the nature of my features and how they came to be, specifically the ones that are officially released. I was going to start with the latest one, but I'm going to start at the beginning. So when 32 Weeks was getting ready to come out, when I started pushing it out, so the weekly releases on YouTube, all the posting on Instagram and all the socials, there was one particular person who reached out to me who was interested, gave me some good feedback and was just like, you know, he respected the hustle, the grind, and the consistency that I brought. And his name is Quote Syllable. He's a St. Louis native artist, I guess you could say. He said he's from Miami, but you know, he's been in St. Louis for a long time now. And he's put out a numerous amount of music, and he has some really good stuff, some stuff that is really inspiring. With that being said, he had reached out and he asked if I was interested in doing some features. I said, hell yeah, that's something I've been interested in for a while. And so he initially sent me 3 beats. Those 3 came to be the first initial features I did with him and his label, Jupiter Classics. The first song is called Barnum and Bailey. So it has like a circus theme for those who know P.T. Barnum and that whole situation. I was a big fan of The Greatest Show, Hugh Jackman film, Zendaya, and Zac Efron, you know, so that whole cast is phenomenal. The music is beautiful and well made and well put together. And anyway, so he sends me these 3. He tells me, hey man, whatever you feeling, go for it. If you're not interested, feel free to skip them. No pressure. I was eager to show that, you know, I'm hungry and that this is something I've been wanting. And so I chose to try to write to all 3 of them. I can't remember exactly which one I wrote first, but we're going to go in the order of which they were released. So the very first one that he put out was Barnum and Bailey, like I said.
Welcome to the greatest show. I go by Cato. I'm loading my cannon at clowns. My catalog is expansive and wow, I'm not here to show off. I'm here to go off. About to explode, flip raps with ease. Trapeze artist, balance is flawless. I walk a tightrope with my eyes closed. Shooting arrows with my pinky toes. Handstand, aim at the fruit on your head.
And I open it up saying, welcome to the greatest show, because again, I'm going off of those themes. I think the hardest thing for me for this verse was finding the right concept, but also making it work, you know? So when it comes to writing rhymes, like, especially coming off of 32 Weeks, the theme is everything, especially when you're just writing a verse. Like, I want it to make sense. I want it to be on topic and I want it to be digestible, but I also want to like show off a little bit to show you my lyrical talent and my skills. And so just to point out a couple of lines, I got the lyrics in front of me. I say, welcome to the greatest show. I go by Cato. That's me. I'm loading a cannon at clowns, right? My catalog is expansive and wow, I'm not here to show off. I'm here to go off. Kaboom. Flip raps with ease, trapeze artist, balance is flawless. I walk a tightrope with my eyes closed, shooting arrows with my pinky toe. So you get the drift, right? So at this point, we're just listing all the things you would see when you go to the circus, like all the amazing feats that you would see. So we have the cannon. There's usually a cannon. There's clowns. There's some sort of explosion to get your attention. You have trapeze artists. You got people doing flips. The tightrope, which is important. Shooting arrows with my pinky toes. That was a very, I almost didn't write that line because it just sounds so weird. But, you know, they have those performers who can like do a handstand and shoot, you know, a bow and arrow with their feet. And I thought that was cool. So I wanted to incorporate that. I know it sounds weird, but I wanted to use it anyway. Won't miss the target, capture the audience, held in suspense. This is what it's like in a circus where people are literally holding their breath at what's happening in front of them. So that's what I wanted to do with that. Fuel in my mouth. I'm spitting out fire. I think that's pretty straightforward. You got the fire breathers and taming lions. So you got the lion tamers, the ones who do the show with the lions, which is a dangerous thing, by the way. But it's also, I just wanted to use that as well. Piercing. So, you know, when you go to a circus, sometimes they have like the freak shows, poke themselves with needles and things like that. So I wanted to incorporate that as well. The way I put it together, I thought it was really cool. And I appreciate that feature. From Quote. The second one I did with Quote, or at least the second one he released, was Pyramid Scheme. Now this one's a little bit more tricky and more deeper because it involves like the occult. It involves the search for knowledge and spiritual things. So it's really deep on that. Quote has this wonderful album that he put out back in 2023. I think it's called Life is a Game. I'm gonna have a picture somewhere later. I might have a link in the description for you. It's one of my favorite albums by him because he like takes like all the metaphors of playing a game and puts it in the album. And I love it. And it's actually what made me like him and to agree to work with him.
Quote, already told you life is a game. I'm here to say there's three characters at play. The creator of all who made the game board from a distance witnesses and observes the sport. The ones that know what's happening, actively strive to apply the principles. We are the masters, then there is the fool who don't know the rules, easily swayed. They are the masses, don't wanna be the sheep, then listen to me. Read the B.L.A.M.E, written by the three initiates. There's 7 concepts you need to digest. Understanding will address and reset your mindset. I'll give you one key.
My verse is based off of a book called The Three Initiates, and basically how to exist in this plane without getting too caught up in everything. Everything is balanced. Where there's good, there's evil. Where there's up, there's down. Where there's hot, there's cold. And that book really does a good job of breaking it down for you. And so I actually give it a shout out in this verse. Quote already told you life is a game. I'm here to say there's 3 characters at play. The creator, the one who made the game board, playing off his metaphor of life is like a game, watching it all play out. He observes. And then you have the people who are trying to do their best. We see the board, we understand it's a game, but we're going to do our best to make our dreams come true. On top of that, you have the people who just don't know. They don't know the rules. They don't know anything about stuff like this, of what I'm talking about. So like they get caught up in silly things, small things, such as arguments. If you understand that bad things are going to happen and that, you know, we just take a deep breath and we just kind of find our way around it instead of getting caught in the emotion and getting trapped there and get stuck there, moving backwards, we're regressing now. You know, we don't want to do that. You know, we want to move forward. We want to stay focused, you know, and that's really what this is about. Don't want to be a sheep. Listen to me. Read the B.L.A.M.E, written by the 3 initiates. There's 7 concepts you need to digest. Understanding will address and reset your mindset. I'll give you one key. So one of them in the book is called polarity. And that's 2 opposites connected by one hypotenuse. So think of a triangle, the idea of a hero and villain. What is a hero if there's no villain? Like, how are you good if there's no evil to fight? I know, right? It's kind of tricky, but it makes sense. You know, you have the light, you have the dark, you have your shadows. Once you got it, you'll be convinced that you too can transmute like me, Cato the alchemist. That alchemist thing is deep because I've been holding on to that since this album that I'm still working on. I've been mixing it. I promise you I've been working on it. It's coming. And The Alchemist is a wonderful book by Paulo Coelho. Yeah, my favorite book. I read it 4 or 5 times now. The album is taking that book and applying it to my life and the close people around me and how it works together. The next feature we have is This One's For You. This was the 3rd one I did with Quote Syllable.
Long live B.L.A.M.E Society. Damo, Cato, Ty, D.A, my sister Saucy, Slim and Niche. Pikes, Big Bro, Dave, honorary member, that's the team. It started with a dream that bled into a vision. Now that vision's all I see. It fed into the mission, and that mission is to grind until we in the right position. And the only thing that's missing is my day one listen. All we have are your memories. There's not enough memories. Let's grow through.
This one was my favorite one that we did, just because I was able to shout out the homies. I was able to shout out the team. I wanted to make sure that when I do these features, I want to shout out P, my partner in crime when it came to music. You know, Damo, definitely Damo, because he's the skeleton, you feel me, with the beats and everything. So I start off by saying long live B.L.A.M.E Society, and then I proceed to list all the teammates at the time. So we got Damo, me, Cato, Ty, which is Tyson, D.A, my sisters, Saucy, Slim, and Niche, Pikes, Big Bro, Dave, he's the honorary member, and that's the team. And then I kind of just break down what we're doing. Started with a dream, turned into a vision. That vision is now the mission, and we just out here grinding. One of my favorite parts on this verse is, so on Quote's verse, he has this thing where he says, all we have are your memories, and he like sings it. And I wanted to mirror that on my verse. And so when I hit it, I say, all we have are your memories. There's not enough memories. Like, solid. I love how that came out. And then I end the verse just saying, you know, we grow through the misery. go beyond the surface, and every opportunity turn pain into purpose. That turning pain into purpose is literally the reason why I'm still doing music today, because we're taking all the negative things that we've been through and we're being an alchemist, right? And we're channeling that into purpose. We're channeling that lead and turning it into gold, baby, literally. So that one is called This One's For You. Oh, snap. Okay, there's another one. So there's 4. So we did those 3, they got released. There's one more that's not released, and I was debating on if I wanted to talk to you about it since it's not out yet and I can't play the music for you. So I'll just give you a gist of it. The song is called Chop It Up. We say chop it up. Back when I was growing up, it meant like talk about it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's discuss it. My verse is all about having a tough conversation with a friend who's going through something. I see that what you're doing is hurting yourself, and I'm here to give you some words of encouragement and to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way and that we can do better. I went into like this sequence of like using Hamilton. I use Hamilton in 32 weeks. Wait for it. And that's an Aaron Burr song. That liquor isn't your friend. It's lulling you straight to sleep. Won't feel it until you crash. That's rock bottom, you'll see. Like Lynn's right-hand man in Hamilton, throwing away your shot. No Aaron Burr, sir. So Lin-Manuel plays Alexander Hamilton, okay? But in real life, Lin, his right-hand man was this cat. I forget his name, y'all, forgive me. He was supposed to play Aaron Burr for Hamilton. However, due to his issues with alcohol, he kind of missed that shot, so, and he talks about it. You could probably look it up. If I find something, I'll try to link it as well to this so you can see it for yourself. But he also describes how he missed a huge opportunity because he just couldn't stop drinking. And now I believe he's sober. I don't know how long it's been, but he's sober now, and it's because of this lesson. That one's called Chop It Up. Hopefully you guys will hear that soon. I added like some sound effects and everything. I was really digging it, and I can't wait for you guys to hear that one because it's one of my favorite ones as well. All right, the next one is Growth, which is a J-Rock Tell-Em track, aka J-Rock Fly Guy. I've known him a long time as well. I've actually did probably 3 songs with him at this point now, but this is the first one that we actually released officially. And so this one is a long verse. The song itself is like 5 minutes, and he sent me the beat. It was like 2.5 minutes long. He did a great job. He filled in all his parts. And what makes this one special is that I got to mix it. So like all the quote songs and the final song that I'm gonna get to in a second are songs that I didn't mix. I sent a reference track, like I made myself sound how I wanted to sound, and I sent it to them. I feel like Quote's team, they did a pretty okay job of like taking my vocals and just trying to keep them as similar as possible, and they just kind of maybe just dropped them in. It's really nice when you can just do the mixing yourself. And so I got to do that with Growth.
Lately's been more reflective, looking over my life and how it changes perspectives, and it shifts in direction. I just had a wild thought. Hey, do you mind? We can hop in the whip and take us a trip. Travel back in time, 1 score ago. That's 14-year-old Cato. Writing rhymes, making beats, basketball, chasing freaks, freestyling with Pistol P. We agreed to make history, a hustler spirit that's to achieve, to actualize my dream. That's everything I needed, cause all I have is my passion.
I just really love this one because I take the moment to talk about my friend and to talk about just us growing up. And one of my favorite lines is, I've always wanted to use like 1 score, 1 score. I forgot how Abraham Lincoln used it. So I say, hey, do you mind? We can hop in the whip and take us a trip, travel back in time. 1 score ago. That's 14-year-old Cato. Writing rhymes, making beats, basketball, chasing freaks, freestyling with Pistol P. We agreed to make history. I say 1 score. A score is 20 years. So I was able to take us back 20 years, right? And so I give you this, what we were doing at 14. And then I say, now we're going to jump 10 years, right? So we jump a decade, and I'm married now. And I'm married a wonderful woman who loves me for me. The only person in the world who loves me for me unconditionally, bro. It's freaking crazy when you really think about it. At that point, now I'm 24. I talk about how even though I was, we were good, it was like I still had a lot of growing up to do. And so these last 10 years, I say, have been paradise. Now, ironically, it's not paradise, you know what I'm saying? But as far as everything else, it's been wonderful, you know what I'm saying? Raising kids, having stable careers, just really learning more about myself, learning more about her, and just growing together and being more respectful towards each other and more loving towards each other. And I just end that verse with a mantra of, I'm on a mission to show you the vision. that anybody that grinds can get it. The difference between those who are just talking about it and those who actually go do it. That one is one of my favorites because I believe, one, I got J-Rock signing fire. Like I usually get his vocals on point, and I love how my voice turns out on there too. It's like it's slow, it's grimy, but like not too gritty. Like it's right where I want it to be at. So that takes us to the last feature, which is Dreamers, and this one is a Ferris the Artist track. So it's a lot, so I'm gonna try to keep it as concise as possible. But overall, Dreamers was written after the passing of Paris. So the homie I was telling you about, the one who's been in these features this whole time, right? But this verse in particular was the second one I wrote after his passing. So if we go back to 2023, when he passed, I had just finished up releasing week number 8. That's how early it was in that process. Week number 8, which was the Metro Boomin Umbrella remix, and we hear about his death, and then I had to put out the Mac Miller track that week, and that one is Hurt Feelings remix, which I really love, and that one was actually written for somebody else, but it sounded like it was for him when it came out. So anyway, we had the funeral. My homie has sent me a beat. Damo had already gave me this beat called UFOs, which that's not what we're going to call it, but that's what the beat was called. And when it comes on, it's very high energy. It's very like, ooh, it's in your face. And that was the first song I wrote after P had passed. And it's dedicated to him. Like I can't go into it, but those who were at the performance, so I'll tag the stream again so you can go back and hear what that song sounds like. But I can't wait to put that out. That's going to be on a separate project. But anyway, so after the funeral, my boy Isaac, or Ferris the Artist, he sends me this beat for Dreamers. And I could have sworn he said, just, write what you feel, or maybe he just sent me the beat and I just went in. But I wrote, and I didn't stop writing until the beat was over.
Hard to stay focused at times when you feeling hopeless, you homeless, and you still gotta grind to yourself, feel like pulling a 9, but you try to see light, cause you living for your kids and wife. Truest lines recited by the illest rhymer. It all hit different when the divine sounds your time, and our dreams become nightmares. You supposed to be right here, don't let me fall asleep in this augmented reality. My shortcomings and fallacies shouldn't define me. Mentally tormented, need torn lenses to find me. Don't need new adjectives to refine and describe me. Just know that I'm home, and Yanni's beside me.
And it's very long. And I talked to him today, actually, right after his album came out with this feature on it, which is why we're here today discussing him. Because he was like, yeah, man, that was like 3 verses. Like you wrote 3 songs in that verse. And, at that time, because I was in the 32 weeks era, verses for me can be as long as I want them to be. So I didn't care, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not big on telling people how to write or how to record. You do whatever you want to do. For me though, this was an exercise in just releasing tension and exercise in grief, and I got it out. The opening lines to this verse is hard to be focused at times when you're feeling hopeless, you homeless, and you still got to grind to yourself, feel like pulling a 9, but you try to see light because you living for your kids and wife. Now, see, those bars are actually written by Paris, and I have bid him for this. Needless to say, he wrote those. I forgot when, and I can't tell you what song it was because I can't remember at the moment. You know what? I do know. It was for Perspective, which I made a video for, and I'm gonna make sure it's in here somewhere for you. Okay. I did the video for Perspective, and it's, oh my God, it was probably the last track I got from him before he passed, man. And it's 3 verses of just pure heat, pure fire. That boy went in, right? So anyway, I say that's the truest lines recited by the illest rhymer. It all hits different when the divine sounds the timer. Now dreams become nightmares. You supposed to be right here. Don't let me fall asleep in this augmented reality. Man, somebody had told me that the last things he said before he passed on the scene was, don't let me fall asleep, because he knew what would happen if he fell asleep. I keep going and I break down just my emotions with it all. And I talk about just trying to figure out the why, the who, all of that stuff. Don't need new adjectives to refine and describe me. Just know that I'm home. Zayani's beside me. For those who know him, knows who that is and what that means. So I'm gonna leave that there. Push to start, park my car. I bleed tears. B.L.A.M.E loses a star. as crazy as that boy was, he was one of the stars in our arsenal as far as when it came to making music, just because of his crazy caliber when it came to freestyling and his, meticulous pen when it came to writing. And I have to put it in perspective, because then I say a mother loses a son. So it's not even about me. A daughter's and son loses a father, and I'm the one scraping for words to say, trying to communicate. I think that's pretty clear what that means. So, but anyway, hoping my message translates, my voice shakes to the generation that'll take our place. And so I just continue on like that, just breaking down like what I'm trying to do with music, which is to, one, communicate our pain, and again, turn it into purpose for those who are younger than us, but also to family and friends who are closest to us. I'm done talking about the verse. I want to talk about the process of recording it. So whenever I do a feature, whenever they send me the beat, one of the first things I do is I write it, and then I record a rough demo or a reference track, so that when I send the acapella version, they kind of know what to do with it or how I want it to sound, right? The reference track. Remember I said Growth was the only one that I actually got to mix myself. The quote syllable ones, they took the acapella ones and they did what they could, and I think it came out decent. Dreamers was different because Ferris wanted me to be in the studio with him to record it. I was very skeptical at first because, I'm like, well, that's just a lot of extra time and effort that goes into doing something when I can just knock it out and send it to you. But I wanted to be respectful of his project and his wish, so I decided to meet up with him. So we met up with him and his producer, and it's a pretty cool spot. Like, I enjoyed being there. It was really cool. The recording process in that moment was fun. I was able to just kind of knock it out. At this point, I want to say I had most of this verse memorized. It's a very long verse, but I had most of it memorized. I think I had to punch like once or twice. That's not important. I just wanted to let you know. When he's playing it back and he's editing, the engineer, when he's playing it back and he's touching it up, he's doing what he's doing, I'm sitting there like, yo, I don't like how this sounds. I was like, why do you have this auto-tune on my voice? And he tells me why he's doing it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But like, it sounds good for Ferris. Like, I don't like it for me, And I had said out loud, like, I've been recording myself for many years now. And I don't know what people assume we're meaning when we say that. But when I say it, it's me saying, I know how I want my voice to sound. It's not an arrogant thing. It's not me saying, I don't know what you're doing. It's just, I know how my voice sounds and how I want it to come across to the listener, because I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to music and rappers specifically, a voice is very particular. And there's certain rappers I listen to just because I appreciate their voice. If I think your voice is annoying or if it's not interesting to me, I don't listen to you. Maybe that's just me. Because I feel that way, I want to make sure that I know how I like my voice. So I want to make sure the listener hears what I hear. So needless to say, he puts effects on them. I don't like them. But I try not to take up too much more time in the session. We had some other discussions. It was nice building with this man. He's awesome. Very friendly, very helpful. Nucci Banga. If I remember, I'll make sure to put his socials in here too, so you guys can check him out, because he has some really good tracks too, and he's a really phenomenal engineer. Ferris lays down his vocals, and then we say goodbye. We peace out. Shout out to Ferris for paying for that session. Like, I appreciate that. And then came the after. Okay, so after you record it with a session, the engineer sends you a copy so you can hear what it sounds like. So he has sent like one, and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, no, I do not like how I sound. And I think the issue was, and he has different words for it, and maybe everybody else does too. But if I had to describe it using Pro Tools, the words I would use is there was too much reverb on my vocals, which means it had too much air. Like if we were in a room, it would be too much air in the room. Like not an echo, but like air. So like space. So like the difference between you talking in a bedroom versus you talking in a stadium, or versus you talking in a hall, right? And so I tried to explain that to him. And then also I didn't like all the delay he had, which is the actual echo you hear. So when you say you and then you hear that extra you, the echo, that's the delay. And basically he had the echo going throughout the whole verse. And for me, when I mix my vocals, I don't do that anymore, because of how much I've switched up my flow. So every time I switch up my flow, depending on the timing of it, the echo or the delay may not hit the same. And so I was like, man, I'm not feeling it. Now, mind you, while we're trying to handle this, we're actually prepping for a show as well. So Ferris is like, yeah, he's trying to get his music sent to me. But, you know, the producer who is sending him the music is also the person who is working on this for me. Right. And so we ended up going like back and forth like 3, maybe 4. It could have been up to 5 times where I kept telling him, nah, man, I don't like it. Like, take off the effects, You got too much effects. And I was like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, I just know how I like to sound. And it's really hard when you don't have the control over that as an artist, you know? And so once it got close to September, when we about to do the show, Ferris is like, bro, I've been trying to get my show music from him, but he's caught up going back and forth with you over this. I was like, oh my God, bro, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. So after that, I was like, you know, I'm gonna leave it alone. We do the show. I perform the song, my verse, because it was a show really dedicated for P. And we keep it pushing. And we've been waiting on the album to drop. And it finally dropped on the 22nd, February 22nd of this year. So it literally just dropped. As of today, it dropped yesterday. And so I got to hear the finalized version of it. And it was pretty much the same version he had last sent me. So the thing about the vocals is, my vocals at least, is that my voice itself is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the echo or delay throughout the verse. I could do without that, and the extra room or reverb in my voice that carries throughout. I wish he would have took that down a little bit, but overall, I'm just happy that I got to, you know, do a project with the Lil Cuz, man, because he's gonna go places, and so it's nice to be able to do a project with him. And hopefully we'll have some more coming too. So with that being said, the album is called 6 Man. And he told me that it's very strongly connected to that Marlon Wayans movie 6 Man. And he said after Paris had passed, after everything had settled down, when he went home, that was the movie he had put on, and he felt P was with him. So it gets real deep. He said there's a lot of, I haven't picked up all the Easter eggs yet because I haven't watched that movie in a very long time, so it makes me want to watch it now. But he said there's a lot of connections between the album and that. So if you are interested, I highly suggest you check it out. Ferris is amazing when it comes to artistry. 6 Man did not disappoint. He has this like Memphis and this Detroit sound, like with these up-tempo tracks where it goes crazy. Like, I love it. He did 6 Man, that just came out, and then before that he had Whoa, which was a single, WOAH on Spotify, he killed that. And then there's Keep It P. Keep It P is a phenomenal piece as well. It's only like 6 or 7 tracks, but it goes hard. I say take the time and go check him out. Leave a comment telling me how you feel about it, if you like his music, and then let me know how you feel about my features, man. Like, I would love to know how you guys feel about which one is the best. I think my favorite feature is definitely Dreamers, just because of the content of what I did. But I think my most proud one is probably Growth. You know what I'm saying? And the ones I did with Quote were just really, man, those were mind-bending, trying to make sure I get the content right. So, but anyway, I appreciate y'all sticking around this long. Stay safe, take care. And if nobody's told you that they love you today, I do. Peace. Yo, what's up? It's Cato from B.L.A.M.E Society with another update specifically about the website. From my Instagram to the master link, you're going to click this merch, the stickers button, boom, and it takes you to the website. We got $3 stickers up. You fill out this form, you cash out me the proper amount, and I mail you the stickers. It's that simple. Also, I wanted to remind you that the newsletter is still going on. It goes out the last Sunday of each month. It's free, there's no spam, and you get access to cool stuff. So with that being said, tap in today, cop some stickers, sign up for the newsletter, and stay in touch. Peace.